Now that we have a pretty well-defined Revit model, it's time to begin adding notes and other annotations to convey design intent and prepare our documents for printing. We'll begin this process with simple text. I'm in a simple elevation view in the file called text, and I'm going to click on the Annotate tab and then click the Text tool. The shortcut for text is TX if you'd rather do it that way. You'll get a cursor on screen and you just pick your point for where you'd like your note to go and you begin typing your note. To complete the note, all you have to do is click next to it. That will keep you in the text tool and allow you to add your next note, or you can click the modify tool to cancel the command altogether and get completely out. Now I'm going to select the text and point out one thing that I forgot to do, kind of forgot on purpose to illustrate something. Even though this is annotation and it behaves a little differently, it's like model objects in the sense that you still have to pay attention to the properties palette, still have to pay attention to your settings, and particularly you have to pay attention to the type of text that we're choosing. In this case, you can see that I've chosen 1/4 inch Arial, and it's a little too big for the view. 1/4 inch Arial is really for titles and large labels. 3/32 inch Arial is more appropriate for simple notes. So I'm going to change the type, and we can do that anytime we like, but when you type your notes, it's a good idea to look there before you start so that you actually create the notes with the right type in the first place. I'm going to go ahead and move this a little bit closer. Notice that there's an integral move control handle right on the text. Furthermore, there's actually a little rotate handle, and you can use that to rotate the text. If you spin it around beyond a certain point, it will actually flip over to stay right reading. So Revit does that for you automatically. Let's undo a couple times. Now, the 3/32 inch Arial is a fixed size relative to plotting. That's a final plotted paper size, and that's very important to understand. All annotation in Revit is based on final plotted size, and it's all derived right here from the scale of the drawing. So if I click on the scale, we're currently at 1/8 inch equals a foot, and I change the scale of this view to 1/4 inch equals a foot, you'll notice that has a dramatic effect on any annotation displayed in this view. That includes the section head, that includes the level heads, and it also includes the note that we've just added. I'm going to zoom in a little bit over here. And let's go ahead and select this note. Now, I probably want this note to actually point to something in the drawing. So we have several options here where we can add leaders to the existing notes that we already have. We can add those leaders to the left, we can add them to the right, and we can make them straight or curved. So I'm going to pick on the tool to add the leader to the right, and then use these shape handles to drag the leader and point it in, and notice that the elbow here will automatically snap to a horizontal when I get close. So that's pretty handy. So I've got that note completed. Let me go ahead and click text. Rather than add the note, adjust its type, then add a leader, I can do all of this in one shot, so I can save myself a little bit of effort. So the first thing I want to do is go to the properties, choose 3/32 inch Arial, make sure that's the right type. Then I want to come over here and look at my options. You can add a 1-segment leader, a 2-segment leader, or a curved leader. I'm going to choose 2-segment leader. And then you can even decide how you want that leader attached to the text. It can attach to the top right, the middle, or the bottom. So I'm going to choose the top right. And the first point I want to click is somewhere wherever I want the arrowhead to be. So I'm going to click right there where the arrowhead is. Then you notice it'll try and line up for me. And then this last point gets a little tricky when we're placing the text. It will line up with a few key points over here, and I'll go ahead and pick one of those, but often we're going to have to do some fine tuning after we're done typing anyhow. You'll see what I mean in a moment here. So I'm going to type brick soldier course. When I click off of that, notice how the note actually snapped to the left. Not 100% sure why it does that, but we can use this move grip, drag it back, and then make whatever adjustments are necessary to the leader line. And I could continue with that process, but that's the essential overall process to creating the notes. Now, the leader is part of the text. When you select on it, you actually have a few options. You could add additional leaders. So let's assume that there was another soldier course down here. We can simply click that plus sign and add a second leader and point the same note to more than one location. You can remove a leader after the fact if you no longer need it. If the text were to wrap, which we can do very easily by dragging that little control handle. You'll see that will wrap it to multiple lines. We could change the way the deleter attaches to the text. We have a few options there. That's actually new in Revit 2011. Furthermore, if we want to change the kind of arrowhead or other behavior like the font and so forth, then we want to select the text and choose Edit Type. Now, if we want to edit 3/32 Arial, we can just go ahead and start editing. If we want to make a copy of 3/32 Arial, we can duplicate it first. And you can see here, most of the settings are fairly self-explanatory. We have a line weight. We have an opaque background. What does that mean? Well, if I go over here to the text tool, let's go back to annotate. Let's go to text. I'm going to turn off the leader, go back to a no leader option. And I'm just going to pick a point right here and I will type another note. Click modify. Notice how the text is actually masking out part of the surrounding brick pattern. This is what it means when we select the text and we edit its type when it's set to opaque. If I change the background to transparent and click apply, you'll see that the brick now shows through. So naturally, if you're planning to put the notes on top of any patterns, the opaque background is probably pretty handy. You also have leader border offset, so that'll determine how far off the text the leader is, and you can change to different arrowheads if you like. So there's a variety of different choices in here. And for example, if I would rather have a filled arrow, I can click OK, zoom back out, and you'll see that my arrowheads have now changed from that open arrowhead that they were before to a filled triangular arrowhead. So text can be added to any view. It is view specific. If you were to go to another view, you would have to create additional notes there and or copy and paste these notes from another view. You can add leaders that are automatically part of the text. They can be either on the left or right, straight or curved, and be attached in multiple points. The text can have a transparent background or an opaque background, and you have control over everything from what font you're using and whether it's bold and italic and so on.